Hello everyone, and we're going to take a look at the proposed changes to all the healers. The healers are getting a big change in patch 3.2.1. Hate these 0.1 patches, these like 3.2.1 patches, always big changes. Now they don't have the best track record when it comes to changing healers in the middle of an expansion. 1.4, 1.4. We remember that patch well as mercs when you kind of made us invalid for raiding for a while. Thank you for that, BioWare. So what are we getting in patch 3.2.1 whenever it decides to come out? It is on the PTS. Bear in mind, PTS patch notes subject to change. So basically there are a lot of things being redesigned. We'll start with the Sage. We'll start with the Seer Sage. Basically, Noble Sacrifice is getting redesigned. Well, this is a change to all of the Sages right now. Noble Sacrifice is being completely changed. It is now going to restore 15 force, and 15 force, really? It's very little. We have 600 force. And it's going to deal elemental damage to an enemy or heal a friendly target. So it is going to become a heal or a DPS ability, which is interesting. You know, it has no cooldown. It will have a 1.5 second activation time, which has been added. So I guess when we get low force, we're gonna start spamming Noble Sacrifice. I guess we'll still do some healing. I guess this is going to be our almost diagnostic scan type thing. You know, something like Colto Shot or diagnostic scan. So we're getting a spammable heal. As a result, of course, then the force cost of all of our heals has been increased. So we're getting a 15 force increase to all of our heals. Benevolence has up to 65 force, up from 50. Rejuvenate is up from 30 to 45, 15 force across the board. Salvation, again, going up from 60 to 75. Wandering Mend is only going up by 10, that's only going up to 60, so from 50. So yeah, you know, Deliverance again is going up from 30 to 45, should we say. So yeah, they are accounting for this change, because we never really paid too much attention to our force prior to this. And now we are going to be looking at our force, but we do have Noble Sacrifice at least to regenerate force. So my guess is it's going to work similar to, well, we might transfer my Sage over to the PTS whenever this comes out, and we'll have a little look at it. We might have a little look at it on the PTS. I don't like using the PTS because, to be honest, it never fucking works, to be honest, and it is only in the US. So whenever I go on it, there's never anyone on it. That's the thing. So being in Europe, thanks BioWare. I know you hate us in Europe, but racists is all we gotta say about them. So yeah, there you go. So the Noble also Resplendence has been changed as well. So Resplendence will restore an extra 5 force per charge. So of course Resplendence was the it removed the force regen debuff that we got, because if you remember how Noble Sacrifice used to work, it used to restore you some force and then affect your force regeneration rate adversely for a few seconds after you get a debuff. Then you would also cost you health. So they're gonna have to change the 4-piece set bonus, because the 4-piece set bonus currently is that Noble Sacrifice costs no health. So what are they gonna do with that? Obviously they're gonna have to change it. We're gonna have to get on the PTS and have a little look at it. But they're gonna have to be changing the 4-piece set bonus, because the 4-piece set bonus, suddenly we really wanted that set bonus. Now don't give a shit about it now. Who gives a shit? I've got a video coming out about the Seer Sage, which is still kind of valid, really, because we don't know when 3.2.1 is coming out. 3.2 isn't even out, so it's still kind of valid. We still will do that. We'll do that video. It will come out probably after this video. We'll put this video out first, so bear that in mind when we talk about the Seer Sage. It's not quite out of date because this is not live, this patch, so bear in mind things are subject to change. So that is all really for the Sage/Sorcerer changes. So again, interesting to see how they play out. They are changing it quite a bit. Noble Sacrifice gonna have to be keybound now, definitely, because yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna work similar to Diagnostic Scan for the Smuggler. So I guess it will be it will work similar to that, because diagnostic scan is what you use to restore your energy. It doesn't do a lot of healing, but again, you can use it to restore your energy if you're struggling as a Sawbones Scoundrel. And speaking of the Sawbones Scoundrel, we are going to go on and take a look at the changes. Interesting changes. Slow release med pack no longer has 2 stacks. Thank fuck. I'm sick of pressing that key twice. I've been sick of that. That is the thing I've wanted since day one that I rolled a Scoundrel healer. Get rid of it. Get rid of those 2 stacks. They weren't necessary. I kind of touched on this in their 3.0 wish list. I didn't want the stacks of slow release med pack. I want it to be just 1 stack. So it is now going to be 1 stack. So the healing of a single stack has been increased, yet the overall healing has been decreased. So it will be a healing, it will be do slightly less, but the healing of a single stack has been increased. It won't be the same as 2 stacks. So it is a slight nerf to the hot, really, but it means we only need to press it once. Thank fuck. That's all I can say. I'm sick of refreshing that, although we could refresh it with emergency med pack. You know, we could refresh both stacks, you know, with emergency med pack. But I was sick of that when it fell off on tanks, to have to press 2 global cooldowns to do that. It was quite annoying, because things happen. Especially when you're doing hard modes, you know, things happen. Sometimes you gotta heal DPS, you gotta heal the other tank, and it falls off one of the tanks. It does fall off from time to time. We don't want it to fall off for too long, but then we have to go and restack it, and it's 2 global cooldowns. It's only gonna be 1 now, so that's pretty decent. Also, diagnostic scan can be channeled while moving. Nice. We get a bit of mobility at least. Diagnostic scan is, again, it's our energy regen. If we get low energy, we're going to be hitting that. Generally, I tend to use it with pugnacity. I tend to use it with that because it gives you the energy regen, which is quite nice. It is free, but it gives us a bit of extra mobility, at least, which is what we sadly need as well. We desperately need mobility because we are the least mobile of the 3 healers at the moment. We are certainly the least mobile. We went from the most mobile pre 3.0 to the least mobile post 3.0, so it's going to give us a little something to channel while we're moving at least. Also, emergencies will now increase the healing dealt by Underworld Medicine by 5%. Nice as well. Also, we get a healing increase to Coldful Pack by 5%, which is quite nice as well. So all in all, it's a pretty nice little buff, certainly a mobility buff, and it makes the spec less fiddly, because it was a pain in the arse, especially when you were like, you would had DPS that were going to take a bit of damage. Like if they had the really huge grenade, you would always throw a stack of slow release med pack. You'd always want to put 2 stacks on them, and it was 2 global cooldowns. It was a waste of time, I thought, really, to be honest. So it will help us, it'll help our mobility a little bit, and should help us out a little bit, make the spec less spam that slow release med pack key. We'll move on to the trooper. We'll talk about the merc, seeing as the merc has been our main. We'll talk about the merc. Rapid scan is available to all mercenaries now. Basically, the healing dealt is going to be reduced, so all 3 merc specs are going to get rapid scan. Healing scan is going to be bodyguard exclusive now. So basically they're swapping healing scan for rapid scan. If you remember, rapid scan was available to all mercenaries prior to 3.0. Healing scan was the exclusive, no, in fact healing scan was available to all. It was rapid scan and healing scan you had. It was emergency scan that got added in 3.0 that you got for that. So rapid scan is being swapped out for healing scan. Basically, if you're a DPS merc, you're going to get that. So healing scan is going to be exclusive to the bodyguard discipline. Doesn't really affect us as a healer, to be honest. The healing dealt has been reduced though. The healing dealt by rapid scan has been reduced. The healing dealt by healing scan has been increased though, which is nice. Nice to see. Because rapid scan was our kind of spammable heal. It had no cooldown. Really, that was the difference between them both. So rapid scan is available to all mercenaries and had a slight nerf, but healing scan has been increased. So bear in mind we can make healing scan instant cast through a emergency scan. As it also medtech increases the critical chance of rapid scan instead of healing scan now by 5%. It's pretty nice. So medtech been redesigned. Empowered scans increases the healing dealt by rapid scan by 5%, but no longer increases. So we're getting buffs to rapid scan in the healer spec to take away from it. So it's not really, it's not the hugest change to the Merc, to be honest with you. Also, the Tracer Lock is going to, if you're an Arsenal spec, is going to reduce the activation time of Rapid Scan instead of Healing Scan, because of course we're losing Healing Scan from the Arsenal discipline that's going to all the Mercs. The healing dealt by Colto Shot is being reduced. Who gives a shit? Let's be honest. Do we really give a shit about the healing dealt by Colto Shot? If you're relying on the healing dealt by Colto Shot, then, you know, it's... was anyone really relying on that, to be honest with you? The only real reason you use Colto Shot is if you were in a kind of situation where you wanted to generate stacks of supercharge. That was the only real reason to do it, because it was probably one of the best ways without really generating too much heat. And if someone was like high health, you would generally just shoot them with that. Generate your stacks of supercharge, should we say, for your supercharged gas, of course, to pop that and get the benefits of that. So really it was just primarily used for that. We weren't relying on it. It wasn't huge for healing. If someone was about to die, it wasn't, oh shit, better Colto Shot them, or oh, they're gonna take damage, better Colto Shot them. No, we have things like Colto Shell, should we say, and you know, we've got emergency scan, and we've got our instant casts, our instant cast healing scan, we've got our, what's it called? I can't remember what our cooldown's called. Tech Override it's called on the Commando. I've been playing the Commando quite a bit recently. Commando healer, so... But we use the Merc healer because that's what we mained for 3 years, so we kind of know what we did. So, I can't remember what it's called again. I can't remember what that's called. Tech Scan is what it's called on the... or Tech Override or something like that. On that, but the one that makes our thing instant cast, I don't even remember it now. So it makes our heals, in our next 2 heals, instant cast because we use it with the utility. Ah, shit, I forgot what that was called. I haven't played a Commando, I haven't played a Merc healer, should we say. I've been playing a Commando healer, to be honest. So, interesting changes to the healers. The biggest change is coming to the Sage. I would say that's the biggest change. All our force costs are getting raised, and Noble Sacrifice is going to be used as a kind of similar, again, we'd say, to Diagnostic Scan. It's not a huge change to the Scoundrel, to be honest, but it is a welcome change, I would say. I'd say it was pretty decent change-wise. The Mercenary... not a huge change as well. It's not really a huge thing. It's going to be more for the DPS mercenaries are going to notice a difference because they can sit and spam that heal, but it is going to do less healing, mind you, so maybe it'll balance it out by, you know, being able to spam the heal, because healing scan had a cooldown, rapid scan did not have a cooldown, so you're just going to be able to use that. You could use it prior to 3.0, so maybe off-spec healers getting a bit of a buff there, so, but then it's not a huge change. It's basically they're just kind of swapping them back over from what they were prior to 3.0. I guess they weren't happy with that, or maybe they weren't happy with the Merc survivability. I personally never found the Merc survivability to be that bad, to be honest with you. They're still getting Colto shots, although they are getting it reduced, the healing reduced for Colto shots at least, so I guess that's the thinking behind those changes. Anyway, that is going to be all for this video, so let me know what you think about patch 3.2.1, should we say. So yeah, healers not quite getting nerfed, not quite getting buffed. It's hard to tell, really. We're going to have to play it. Certainly we're going to have to go and do a bit of play testing and see how it affects the Sage in particular. Certainly that's going to be the one that we're going to look at. So anyway, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again soon, and goodbye.